Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupini avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te nama. Jananeem Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapatme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchid Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine Kalindi Pulla Kamale Madhavena Kridarata Brahmananda Namastubhyam Sadguru Lokanayaka. So, the topic is the daily life of a devotee. The spiritual disciplines. I think I will begin with, at the end of the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, there is a shloka where the Bhashyagara Sri Shankaracharya says, it is the Sarabhuto Arthaha. It is the essential purport of the entire Gita, and which is being summarized for easiness of practice. And the shloka goes like this: Mat karma krit, mat paramo, mat bhaktaha, sanga varjidaha, nirvaira sarva bhuteshu ya, samameti pandava. Mat karma krit, he who works for me only, like a servant working for his master, not for himself. Then again, it is mat paramaha. You will tell that a person who is working for his master, a normal servant who works for his master, does not have the master as his supreme goal. But here, this person who is mat karma, who is mat karma krit, is also mat paramaha. He has me alone as the sthana to be attained, the prapya sthan. Prapya sthan hochi se bhi tar janno kaj koruchi se prapya sthano hochi. So mat karma krit, mat paramaha, and he is mat bhakta, sanga varjidaha, not attached to anything. Nirvaira sarva bhudeshu ya, doesn't entertain enmity towards any creature. Samamiti pandava, he will attain to me. So it is also contains all the yogas here. Because if you take the first part of the verse, the first word, it is mat karma krit, and this is karma yoga. So he who works for me only. So now we will go to 3 verses that speaks on karma in the Gita. It is coming in the 2nd chapter. Yavanartha udappane sarvada samplutodage tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata. Yavanartha, whatever limited purposes are served by limited reservoirs, like a pond or a well. Sarvada sampludodage, when in the ocean, it is all those purposes and still more is fulfilled by the ocean. Now here, the word ocean, why is it taken as the ocean? In fact, 2 great annotations of the Gita take the word, though it is also interpreted as flood waters, they take it as the waters of the ocean. What is the reason? The reason is, any water anywhere in the world is the waters of the ocean. The identity of water that we use daily for our purposes is that it is the water of the ocean. So that is why Sarvada Sampludodage is taken as the waters of the ocean. Tavan Sarveshu Vedeshu. Now we come to the Darshtanda. Whatever limited purposes are there by all the different rites and rituals that are talked about in the Vedas, or whatever works we do to fulfill our desires, Tava Brahmanasya, all that indeed is fulfilled by the realization of God. So here, Udappanartha, the waters, the purposes served by the limited reservoirs, they are a metaphor for the little karmas that we do. Whatever karmas we do, motivated by our desires, this Udappanartha stands as a metaphor for that. And Sarvada Samplutodagartha, the purpose is served by a Samplutodaga or an ocean. That stands for the unlimited bliss that is available to us in the realization of God. And the Jala in both, Udappana, whether it is an Udappana or whether it is the Samplutodaga, that water is a metaphor for bliss, the bliss of God. The identity of the purposes served by any work. Why do we do any kind of work? It is to be happy. It is for the pleasure, or it is for bliss. It is a distortion of the bliss of God. So this idea is conveyed here. Whatever work we do, it is for the whatever pleasures we are having, whatever happiness we are getting, for the sake of which we are doing all our works. All that is a distortion of the bliss of God. And all of this bliss is directly available to us if we take a dip in the ocean of the bliss of Brahman, in the ocean of the bliss of God realization. মানে आनंद समुद्र ওই জল ଅଛି যে দৃষ্টান্ত কার দৃষ্টান্ত ଅଛି জল ଅଛି যে ଆନନ୍ଦର ଦାର୍ଷ୍ଟାନ୍ତ ଅଛି ଆନନ୍ଦ ଈଶ୍ୱରଙ୍କର ଆନନ୍ଦ ବ୍ରହ୍ମାନନ୍ଦର ହେଉଛି ଦାର୍ଷ୍ଟାନ୍ତ ଆଉ ଦୃଷ୍ଟାନ୍ତ ହେଉଛି ଜଲ। যে আমরা কাম করুছি আমাদের স্বার্থ পাই কাম করুছি, যে আনন্দ আমরা পাউছু সেই আনন্দ ব্রহ্মানন্দর একটা ডিস্টর্শন। এই কথাটা এই শ্লোক কହୁଛି। So this is now we come to the last portion. So in the beginning itself, in the introduction, it is told, if work is to be done, why should we perform work if it is not for the satiation of our desires? This is the introduction that the Bhashyakara keeps at the introduction of this verse. Why should we perform work? You are telling us to perform work, surrendering the results to God, for the sake of the purification of the mind. But that is not all these karmas that is there in Karma Kanda. That is meant for going to heaven. Our individuality will be intact. We will satisfy our and we will go to heaven. So why should one at all work if it is not for the sake of for the satiation of our limited desires. So here he is telling that all of this is indeed fulfilled, that the higher purpose is there, the bliss of realization. And whatever little joys we are getting is a distortion of that absolute bliss. And then he connects it, he deconstructs the metaphor finally. So in the last he will say, Tvamabi Udappanartha sthaniyamapi karma kartavyam. For the time being, you perform works that are comparable to the limited purposes served by a reservoir. And this metaphor is deconstructed quite beautifully by an annotator. He says that why you take a dip, if you take bath in a limited reservoir, what phala you will get? Ki phalo paibe. The phala that you will get is your body will be purified. And then you go and take bath in the ocean. Now the ocean is the place where all the holy rivers meet. And you take a dip in the ocean, you get the Mahapunya, the punya of bathing in all the holy rivers. Similarly, you perform whatever your duties and responsibilities are there, not for the sake of any fulfillment, surrendering the fruits to God, you perform them. And then what happens? In the Drishtanda, the dirt of the body is removed. In the Darshtanda, the dirt of the mind is removed. Your mind becomes pure. And then the stage is set for taking a dip in the ocean of God realization. Amra je choto moto je udappano chi je tadaga koopa ei jal उपयोग करी आमर शरीर को शुद्ध करुच्छी तारपरे आमरा समुद्र रे जाइकरी जे स्थाने सब पुण्य नदी मिली जाउची मिशी जाउची सेठी आमरो स्नान करुच्छी महापुण्य भावुची सेमिति आमरो छोटो छोटो मोटो कर्म सब करुच्छी कौरिकिरी आमरो जे तार पर्पस होची तार प्रयोजन होची आमरो चित्त शुद्ध होबा चित्त शुद्ध होले ओई जे समुद्र होची समुद्र माने जे ब्रह्मानंदेर समुद्रे आमरो स्नान करिबा पाई स्टेज तैयारी हो जाए तो एटा एकटा कर्मयोगेर एकटा श्लोक नेक्स्ट श्लोक इज कर्मण्ये it is a very famous one verse कर्मण्ये वाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भूः मा ते संगो अस्तु अकर्मणि. So this sloka actually tells us what karma yoga is not. This is actually what it does. Karmani eva adhikaraste. Your right is for work alone. कर्मो खाली कोरिबा पाई तुम्हारो अधिकार होची मा फलेषु गताजना. मा फलेषु गताजना मीन्स मा फलेर जन्नो तुम्हार अधिकार नहीं. तारपरे बोलছে मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भू. So there are two very distinct meanings here for the two portions. Ma phaleshu katachana and ma karma phala heturbhu. In the first portion, he will tell us ma phaleshu katachana. Means what? He is asking us that Krishna, don't entertain that desire for results. You do your work. This is the first interpretation. Ma phaleshu. Karma phala trishna ma bhut. And then he will say, ma karma phala heturbhu. And here what is meaning? If you have trishna and you do work to fulfill that desire. You become karma, that karma becomes karma phala hetu. What is karma phala here? Janma eva karma phala. You become the cause, that desire, that karma that is done, prompted by desire, becomes the cause for janma. So, Mahaphaleshu means don't entertain desire and thus don't be the cause of attaining a fresh janma. So now then what is to be done? Mate Sango, should I sit without doing any work? Na. Mate Sango vastu akarmani. At the same time, you should not be inactive. So here he tells us what Karma Yoga is not. Then he will tell us in the next verse what actually Karma Yoga is. Yogastaha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Being established in yoga, yoge स्थापित होया कुरु कर्माणि तुम्ही कर्म करो संगम त्यक्त्वा गिविंग अप अटैचमेंट सिद्ध्य सिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा सिद्धि या असिद्धि in success and failure, being equanimous in success and failure. So that Bhashyakara will say here, Sattva Shuddhija Jnana Prapti Lakshana Siddhihi Tad Viparyayaja Asiddhihi. See, we are working for God, everything. Now the doubt arises, is it? Is he really, is my mind purified? Am I attaining the phala of my sadhana? So, he is telling that rest assured it will come to you. Even this doubt will act as a barrier to your, what is that yoga, state of yoga, the state of equanimity that is described as yoga. So siddhi or asiddhi, whether I have attained purity or whether I am not yet pure, don't bother about it. You just do your daily sadhana. You just do your daily work. And then he says, Samatvam yoga uchyade. This state of equanimity, when you are not bothered by the success or the failure of your, whether your sadhana is succeeding or whether your sadhana is not succeeding, don't bother about it. It will succeed, be rest assured. Because he will say that that doubt will be a cause of chitta vikshepa, of attaining to that state of yoga. So this is what karma yoga is taught here. So that whenever this shloka is told, I remember that story of Swamiji, which is told in the Raja Yoga, that Narada is going to Vaikuntha. So in the way he meets a monk who is meditating, and the jada has grown and it has entered the ground. Then this monk asks Narada, where you are going? Then he tells, I am going to Vaikuntha to meet Narayana. You please ask him that when I will get mukti or liberation, or when I will be with Narayana in Vaikuntha. Yes, I will ask, he says. Then further he goes. Then he meets another monk. And that monk is simply dancing with joy. That's all. So then he meets Narada. He puts the same question, where you are going. He says, I am going to Vaikuntha. Then he says, please ask Narayana whether I will get liberated or not. Yes, I will ask, he says. Then he asks, and when he is returning, he first meets the first monk. whose jada has entered the ground where he is meditating. He says Narayana told it will take 1 or 2 births more. 2 or 3 births, he tells. And he becomes disgusted. What? I am doing all these sadhana and he is not noticing. What? It is useless, he says, disgusted, and leaves. Then he goes to the second monk who is dancing. And Narada conveys to him that what the Lord told, that as many leaves are there on this tree, after that much births you will be liberated. Then he becomes ecstatic. He dances even more ecstatically. What? I am going to get liberated after all these births. Then at that moment he hears that Ashariri, my son, you are free now. So it is that doubt is not there, that all my actions are meant for God only. So this story illustrates actually the theme of this shloka. Then next it is going on that this is all about karma yoga. Now we will see some other verses in the Gita, which is Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chedasa nirashihi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigadajvaraha. So Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya, surrendering all your actions to me, like a servant for its master. Adhyatma chedasa, fully focusing your mind on me. Nirashi, 2 things are told here. Nirashi, free from expectations, and nirmamo bhutva, free from mamata. He is not telling here free from ahanta. Ahanta is there. I am the servant of God. So ahanta he is not asking to give up. He is asking us to give up mamata. That Swamiji says in one place that we are all like shopkeepers in this world. The shop owner is God. So that attitude, even what Thakur is telling about the maid servant who is working in the rich man's house. Everything, the rich man, whatever, my Rama, my Hari, he looks after the children of the house owner. But inside she knows that her real home is in the village. Like that, a person will do all works, but he will know that God alone is his own. Nothing actually belongs to him. So this is nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigadajvaraha. So this is another. Now we will see this 11th verse is over. Then in the 12th chapter, there is described that entire bhakti yoga. In fact, whatever that verse, mat karma krit mat paramo mat bhakta sangavarjita, that is actually, it is a summary of the entire philosophy of bhakti that is taught in the 12th chapter. So, in that, he will first tell it from the 2nd verse onwards of the 12th chapter. Yetu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matpara ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate tesham aham samuddharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha mayyaveshida chetasam. He who yetu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya, he who surrenders all his actions to me. Who is this Mayi? It is Sri Krishna, the incarnation. For us, it is Sri Ramakrishna. He who surrenders all his actions to me. Mayi sanyasya. Etu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha. And he who accepts me as the supreme goal. Ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. Completely through one-pointed focus, he worships me only. Tesham aham samuddharta. I will lift him from the samsara sagara. Bhavami nachirat partha maya veshida chedasam. He who has fixed in his mind on me, I give you my word. Before long, I will save him. I will save him from this samsara. Then he gives steps. He starts from the highest. Then if you cannot do this, you do this. If you cannot do this, you do this. Like that he will say. Mayyeva mana adhatsva. Mayi buddhim niveshaya. Nivasishyasi mayyeva. Ada urdhvam na samshaya. Mayyeva man moro upare dharana karo. Mayi buddhim buddhi moro upare yukta karo. Nivasishyasi to me, you will exist in me only. Nivasishyasi mayi eva. To me, you will be living in me only. Adha urdhvam na samshayaha. Even after your death, you will be one with me. Then he will say, Ada chittam samadhadum na shaknoshi mayistiram. If you are not able to do this, fixing your mind on me, concentrate your mind on me. Abhyasa yogena tato mami chaptum dhananjaya. You practice abhyasa yoga. You continually repeat this practice. Abhyas karo. Kore thako. You go on repeating this. Then again he will say, Abhyasebi asamarthosi. Mat karma paramo bhava. Madhartam abhikarmani kurven siddhim avapsyasi. If even abhyasa you cannot do, you do work for me only. Whatever work you are doing the Lord's work. Do the Lord's work. Lord's work means what? Serving the Lord's children. I have nothing to gain from work. With this attitude, you do work for Madartam abhikarmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. Adhaidadapi ashaktosi kartum. Madhyogam sarva karma phalatyagam tadak kuru yadatmavan. And if you cannot even do this, you do all your work, all your duties, all your responsibilities, but surrender the fruits to me. You surrender whatever you are doing, that fruits of the action is not for me. The Lord knows best. I am doing my own work prompted by my desires alone. I am doing work. For the time being, I cannot be free from it. But the fruits, that fruits is given by the Lord only. Whatever, with this understanding, with this attitude. Then, with that attitude, you just do karma palatyaga. Then he will say that the concluding verse of this section, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat, jnanat dhyanam vishishyade, dhyanat karma phalatyaga, tyagat shantiranantaram. So normally, you see, if you cannot do this, do this, and you have come to the lowest bare minimum point of karma palatyaga. But here the Lord is telling the best is karmapala tyaga. Tyaga. So then it is asked, why is it called best? Because renunciation is there also. So we can compare it to an elevator actually. Karmapala tyaga, it is not like the stairs, you climb one by one, you go. You do karmapala tyaga properly, it will carry you to the top. So we can think like that. So if karmapala tyaga is properly done, he has got the potential to be a yogi. Swamiji says in his karma yoga, he who can even for 5 minutes work without thought of any selfish motive, he has the potential to become a sage, to become a yogi. Only we do not have the patience to practice it. So I think my time is over. I will stop here. So I am very thankful to Maharaj for giving me this opportunity.